Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, and you won't believe how something as small and ordinary looking as a 1983 1-cent penny could be worth a staggering $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny with a face value of just 1 cent potentially selling for millions of dollars. This isn't just another urban legend or internet rumor floating around. There are real, documented cases of such coins commanding astronomical prices due to a unique combination of rare errors, minting anomalies, and a peculiar twist in US coinage history that all converge on the seemingly unremarkable 1983 penny. So buckle up, because this story is about to change the way you look at your loose change forever. First, let's get some quick context out of the way. The penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, has undergone several transformations throughout its history in the United States, and the year 1983 stands out not just because of its era but because of what happened during the transition from one type of penny to another. Prior to 1982, the US Mint produced pennies primarily out of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But due to rising copper prices, it became more expensive to make a penny than the coin was actually worth, so in mid-1982, the Mint decided to switch the composition to a predominantly zinc core with a thin copper coating. The change itself sounds simple on paper, but the transition period was a chaotic one for the Mint, leading to a variety of errors, misstrikes, and anomalies that were never meant to enter circulation. Now, 1983 was the first full year when all pennies were supposed to be struck with the new copper-plated zinc planchets, and that's where things get really interesting. Because among the billions of pennies minted that year, a tiny handful, so rare that only a few are known to exist, were mistakenly struck using the old solid copper planchets. This happened either due to leftover copper blanks from 1982 being accidentally fed into the presses or some kind of procedural oversight that allowed them to be used in 1983. The result is that some 1983 pennies weigh more than others, and it's this extra weight that can give away the secret of their composition. A standard copper-plated zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, while a solid copper penny weighs approximately 3.1 grams. This small difference can only be detected with a precise scale, which is why many people have had these coins in their pockets, jars, or drawers for years without ever realizing what they actually had. But the weight alone isn't the only anomaly that can make a 1983 penny extremely valuable. There are also examples of 1983 pennies with double dies, an error that occurs during the minting process when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment, resulting in doubled or blurred features on the coin, most noticeably on the date, inscriptions like Liberty, and In God We Trust. One of the most famous double-die 1983 pennies was sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars, and the fact that such coins can be found in circulation is enough to make anyone start checking their change a little more carefully. But what makes the potential $2 million 1983 penny so extraordinarily valuable is when multiple rare factors converge into a single coin. Imagine a 1983 penny that was not only struck on a copper planchet in error but also features a dramatic double die obverse, is in pristine mint state condition, and possibly includes other minute details like a missing mint mark, off-center strike, or even a repunched mint mark. Each of these features on its own adds rarity and value, but together, they form a numismatic unicorn, a coin so rare and historically significant that collectors are willing to pay whatever it takes to secure it. The combination of historical context, minting process errors, and extreme rarity create the perfect storm for such a coin to reach the seven-figure valuation it commands today. Additionally, the fascination surrounding the 1983 penny is amplified by how difficult it is to verify and authenticate these anomalies. Not every heavy 1983 penny is automatically solid copper, other factors like corrosion or debris can affect weight, and not every double die is dramatic enough to be valuable. This means that if you think you have one, it requires professional grading and certification by experts like those at PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, who will analyze the coin's features under magnification and determine its authenticity, rarity, and condition. Only then can a coin be legitimately listed or auctioned at the high prices we're talking about. So while the idea of finding a $2 million penny in your pocket might sound like fantasy, the historical facts and documented sales show that it's entirely possible, albeit extraordinarily rare. And part of what makes this story so compelling is the human element, the idea that someone, somewhere, could be sitting on a life-changing windfall without even knowing it. It brings out the treasure hunter in all of us and adds a layer of mystery and excitement to an otherwise mundane object like a penny. Imagine the thrill of discovering that an old penny you almost dropped into a vending machine is actually a one-of-a-kind piece of American minting history. And the excitement only grows when you consider that many of these valuable coins were never supposed to exist in the first place. They are the result of human error, mechanical mistakes, and transitional confusion, all factors that make them not just rare but genuinely fascinating to collectors and historians alike. The 1983 penny tells a story of economic pressures, policy decisions, technological limitations, and plain old human error, and that story is literally embedded in metal. Over the years, collectors and enthusiasts have scoured their collections, combed through rolls of pennies from banks, and attended coin shows in hopes of catching a glimpse of this legendary coin. And while most will never find one, the few who do are rewarded not just financially but with a place in numismatic history. It's important to note that the market for rare coins like these is extremely active, and stories of record-breaking sales only increase public interest. As of now, only a few 1983 copper pennies have been certified and sold, and the rarity of these coins has only intensified their desirability among elite collectors. What's more, the coin's potential to be valued at $2 million hinges on multiple factors aligning perfectly: weight, composition, doubling, strike quality, condition, and unique errors, which is why these unicorn coins are so incredibly rare. But even if your 1983 penny isn't worth millions, finding one with any sort of anomaly or rare feature can still fetch a surprising amount, often in the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. So if you have a jar of old coins at home, it might be worth digging through them with a digital scale and a magnifying glass. Who knows what treasures you might uncover? With the right coin, even a single cent can change your life. The story of the 1983 penny isn't just about money, it's about history, chance, and the hidden value of things we often overlook. So next time you pick up a penny off the sidewalk, remember, it might be worth more than you think, and in rare cases, it could be worth millions. Thanks for watching, and keep your eyes on your change. You never know when a tiny copper coin could lead to $1 million discovery. One of the most intriguing modern-day numismatic stories, the 2021 1-cent penny from the United States, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, yet rumored in rare error versions to be worth up to $7 million due to a combination of extraordinary minting mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and extreme rarity. And in today's video we're going to explore exactly how a coin so small and seemingly insignificant could command such astronomical value, especially considering how billions of pennies are struck annually and how most people handle them daily without a second thought, tossing them in jars or forgetting them in drawers. But this particular 2021 penny has captured the imagination of collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters alike because of its extraordinary rarity and the unique combination of minting errors that make it stand out not just in the year 2021 but across the entire history of modern American coinage. And while the vast majority of 2021 pennies are produced to exacting standards by the US Mint using highly automated processes designed to ensure consistency and eliminate flaws, a tiny subset of coins slipped through the quality control cracks with defects so rare and so dramatic that their value skyrocketed almost immediately after being discovered, and in some cases these errors were initially dismissed or overlooked entirely, only to later be identified and authenticated by professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC, giving them certified error status and making them prime targets for high-end collectors and investment-minded numismatists who understand how market demand, scarcity, and historical uniqueness intersect to produce multi-million-dollar price tags. And while $7 million might sound exaggerated to the average person, in the world of high-end numismatics such valuations are entirely possible, especially when considering comparable coins like the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, which have fetched similarly astonishing sums at auction. And so the question becomes, what exactly makes the 2021 1-cent coin so rare and valuable in these special cases? And the answer lies in a confluence of rare production errors, die misalignments, planchet anomalies, and mint mark mistakes that transform an otherwise common coin into a museum-worthy masterpiece of unintended artistry and historical curiosity. And to understand the nature of these errors we need to first look at how modern pennies are made, with billions being struck by high-speed coin presses using hardened steel dies which imprint the design, Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, onto copper-plated zinc blanks called planchets, and in this automated process everything must align perfectly for the coin to come out as intended, but when something goes awry, even by a fraction of a millimeter, the results can be dramatic, such as double strikes where the coin is hit twice by the die, creating ghosted or doubled images, or off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, leaving blank portions of the coin's surface visible, or broad strikes where the collar die malfunctions, allowing the metal to spread beyond its intended boundaries. And more serious errors include coins struck on the wrong planchet altogether, such as a 1-cent coin struck on a dime or nickel blank, producing not only size discrepancies but metal content mismatches that are instantly detectable by seasoned collectors or even by weight and sound. And in the case of the 2021 1-cent penny, at least one specimen was found struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, believed to have been left in the coining machinery by mistake or misplaced during transport, resulting in a US coin with metal characteristics totally foreign to the expected zinc composition, which made it highly unusual and highly valuable. And then there's the fascinating case of mint mark errors, where the small letter indicating the mint of origin, typically P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, is either missing, misplaced, or exhibits doubling due to die wear or misalignment during the minting process. And one of the most valuable known 2021 pennies features what appears to be a phantom W's mint mark, suggesting an experimental or erroneous use of a West Point die. Despite no official release of West Point pennies in 2021, and the mystery around how such a mark could appear has only deepened the interest and speculation around that particular coin, with experts debating whether it was a test strike, a rogue die mix-up, or a deliberate anomaly introduced during production. And such a combination of plausible backstories, unverifiable origins, and extreme rarity can inflate value significantly, especially when authenticated and encapsulated by trusted grading companies. And it's not just the mint mark or planchet that can cause a coin's value to skyrocket. The condition and grade of the coin are critical too, with higher grade coins exhibiting pristine surfaces, sharp details, and no post-mint damage being valued far more than those showing signs of wear. And in the case of error coins, certain collectors are willing to pay a premium for pieces that show the error in the most dramatic, eye-catching, or complete way, such as a full brocage where the design is mirrored on both sides due to another coin being stuck in the press, or a die cap error, where a struck coin gets jammed onto the die and proceeds to strike other coins, creating distorted, mushroom-like shapes that are both bizarre and beautiful. And when a 2021 penny includes more than one of these errors, such as a double strike combined with an off-metal planchet and a mint mark anomaly, it becomes exponentially more desirable, creating a perfect storm of collectability and investor appeal. And in some cases these coins are discovered by sheer luck, such as a coin roll hunter going through bank-wrapped rolls and noticing something strange about a coin's color, weight, or strike alignment, and upon closer inspection realizing it's not just a curiosity but potentially a 6- or 7-figure find. And while the odds of finding such a coin are astronomically low, the possibility itself has driven renewed interest in modern penny rolls and encouraged thousands of hobbyists to check their change more closely, inspect every coin under a magnifying glass or USB microscope, and share their finds online through forums, Facebook groups, and YouTube videos, many of which go viral due to the excitement and emotional impact of discovering a treasure hiding in plain sight. And it's also important to understand that the numismatic market is influenced by factors beyond the coin itself, including market trends, collector hype, social media virality, and the timing of major auction house events where such coins are featured with dramatic fanfare, further increasing demand and perceived prestige. And in recent years the emergence of online marketplaces and authentication services has made it easier than ever for sellers to connect with wealthy buyers looking for portfolio diversification through rare coins. And while the average 2021 penny might be worth only its face value or a few cents to a collector, those few extraordinary examples with certified errors, especially dramatic, multifaceted ones, can fetch life-changing sums, and even rumors of such finds can cause speculative interest and bidding wars. And with coin authentication services continuing to develop more sophisticated tools for analyzing strike pressure, die lineage, and planchet composition, it's becoming increasingly possible to isolate and confirm the authenticity of bizarre anomalies that would have gone unnoticed in previous decades. And the 2021 penny has become a kind of legend not just because of one or two specific errors but because of the sheer variety of potential mistakes associated with that year's production run, some of which may stem from the massive logistical challenges faced by the US Mint during the pandemic era. including staffing shortages, accelerated production schedules, and disrupted supply chains, all of which may have contributed to lapses in quality control or emergency use of backup dies and equipment from alternate facilities, leading to increased chances of anomalies occurring, and each new error coin discovered from that year adds to the law and fuels ongoing investigations by professional numismatists and hobbyists alike, creating a continuously evolving story that straddles the boundary between modern history and economic folklore. And while not every 2021 penny is worth checking, the fact that even one of them might be worth $7 million makes the hunt worthwhile for many, especially when that potential fortune is sitting right in the palm of your hand or buried in a change jar in your kitchen. And as the search continues and new discoveries come to light, the legend of the 2021 1-cent penny only grows stronger, reminding us all that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone observant and curious enough to recognize their true worth. So if you have a handful of 2021 pennies lying around, now might be the time to take a closer look, because you never know. You just might be holding a $7 million piece of history without even realizing it. If you're new here, you're in for a fascinating journey into one of the most mind-blowing stories in the world of coin collecting and rare currency. Today, we're going to uncover the astonishing tale behind a single 2000 dated 1-cent penny minted in Denver, the so-called 2000 AD Lincoln penny, that against all logic and face value, is now known to have been sold or estimated at a value reaching a staggering $4 million. And yes, you heard that right, $4 million for a coin that's supposed to be worth just 1 cent, so grab a snack, settle in, and prepare to dive deep with us into this epic rabbit hole where errors, mishaps, mysteries, and mint mark anomalies converge to create what might just be the perfect storm in numismatic history, because this coin's value is not simply the result of age or standard rarity, but a complex culmination of striking errors, misstruck dies, unique metal compositions, and minting mistakes that, combined with historical curiosity and intense demand among elite collectors, have made this 1-cent coin a legendary unicorn in the community. So let's rewind and take a closer look at everything that makes this particular 2000 AD penny so unique, starting with the core basics of US minting operations during the year 2000, which marked a time of increasing precision and fewer mistakes due to advances in technology, meaning that any major error from this era stands out even more starkly against the backdrop of improved quality control, which in turn adds exponentially to the intrigue and premium placed on mistakes that actually manage to escape into circulation. And as we all know, the Lincoln penny, featuring the 16th President of the United States Abraham Lincoln, has been around since 1909 and has seen numerous design shifts, compositional changes, and minting locations, with the D mint mark specifically indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility renowned for high production volumes and a relatively clean track record when it comes to major blunders. So imagine the sheer improbability when numismatists discovered a 2000 AD penny containing not just one but a whole series of peculiar characteristics that raised every red flag imaginable in the world of error coins. And while most error pennies fetch a few dollars to maybe a few thousand at auction depending on severity and uniqueness, this specific coin garnered explosive attention due to a trifecta of irregularities, starting with its composition. Many suspect this coin may have been struck on a foreign planchet, possibly made of a metal alloy never meant for use in US currency, resulting in a slightly off-color tone and a different weight compared to a standard copper-plated zinc penny. And what's even more baffling is that initial metallurgical testing hinted at the possibility of it being struck on a transitional or experimental blank, perhaps something left over from mint trials or tests for international clients, which alone would be enough to pique our interest. But add to that an obverse doubling effect, commonly referred to as a double die, specifically one that involves the date and the mint mark, leading to slight yet unmistakable duplication around the 2000 and the D, creating a visual anomaly that error hunters crave. And we're just getting started, because to pour fuel on the fire, this very same coin also seems to feature a rotated die error, meaning the front and back don't align perfectly when flipped. Normally, US coins are aligned at 180 degrees, so if you flip it vertically the reverse should be upright, but in this case, the alignment is off by a degree or two, which might seem minor to the untrained eye but is a critical indicator of a production fault to seasoned collectors. And then there's the mysterious repunched mint mark that many have debated about for years, with close microscopic scrutiny revealing signs that the D mint mark may have been struck more than once, slightly off-center, which introduces the possibility of either a mechanical double strike or a hand-punched correction that went awry, both of which are extremely rare for modern coins. particularly those from the Denver Mint after the 1980s when most processes had become heavily automated, and of course, theories abound about how this coin came to be. Some argue it was the result of a rogue mint employee tampering with dies or feeding the wrong blank into the press. Others believe it could be part of a small batch of test strikes accidentally released into circulation before being destroyed, making this coin potentially the only known survivor of such an experiment, and there's even a faction that thinks this was never supposed to be a US penny at all, pointing to the dimensions and composition inconsistencies that match more closely with coins minted for overseas contracts, especially for Central American or Southeast Asian countries who had agreements with the US Mint during that period, meaning this coin could theoretically be the result of a planchet mix-up where a foreign blank got mixed into the US production line, and if all that wasn't enough, there's speculation about die clashes and faint ghosting effects on the reverse, where under certain lighting conditions you can see barely their impressions of the obverse design bleeding through, which hints at pressure anomalies during striking, a symptom of improperly calibrated machinery or malfunctioning coining dies, and these overlapping features, misaligned die, repunched mint mark, foreign metal composition, double die, rotated alignment, and possibly even ghosting, form what some in the numismatic world are calling the ultimate modern era coin, one that breaks so many rules it might have been an accident of fate that it survived, and as with all things this rare, provenance plays a huge role in valuation, with elite collectors willing to bid exorbitant sums not just for the coin's physical traits but also for its backstory, the drama of discovery, the authentication process, and the intense competition to own what could be the only example in existence. And let's not forget the psychological value here, because in a world of mass production and algorithmic perfection, a coin like this is a tangible reminder that mistakes still happen, and that sometimes those mistakes are worth more than perfection ever could be. And when you think about all the checks and balances, the steps a coin takes from metal blank to finished currency, rolling, punching, annealing, washing, drying, striking, inspecting, bagging, and shipping, the idea that such a flawed yet mesmerizing coin could slip through every layer of scrutiny and find its way into the world makes it an irresistible treasure, and though the average person may pass it over as pocket change, someone with a trained eye and deep appreciation for rarity could spot the difference instantly and know they're holding not just money but history, and that's why this 2000 OD penny, despite being only 25 years old and originally worth 1 cent, commands a value that makes even seasoned collectors gasp. And while there may be other era coins out there with impressive pedigrees or eye-catching deformities, few match the perfect storm that this one represents, because it's not just an error, it's not just a mystery metal, it's not just a doubling or misalignment or ghosting, it's all of those things combined into a single anomaly that seems to defy the odds, the system, and the very definition of what a penny should be. And whether or not you're a coin collector, investor, or just someone fascinated by hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, this story reminds us to look closer, to never underestimate the small things, and to always check your change, because you never know when one of those dull brown pennies at the bottom of your drawer might just be a $4 million miracle in disguise. And with that said, stay curious, stay sharp, and we'll catch you next time for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins and hidden wealth.